The stranger who stole my sister's wedding. The Grandview Manor was a symphony of gilded opulence, a stage meticulously set for my sister Lydia's crowning achievement. Crystal chandeliers winked, casting a deceptive warmth over the sea of smiling, judgmental faces. But for me, Hannah, the entire spectacle was a gilded cage. The table card in my hand, table 12, felt like a brand. The reject table, tucked between the bustling kitchen doors and the restrooms, was Lydia's not-so-subtle declaration. This is where the unwanted older sister belongs. At 32 and single, I was the family's favorite charity case. Lydia, 2 years my junior, had weaponized her fairy tale wedding to Richard, the investment banker, into a relentless campaign to highlight my solitude. Our parents, Diane and Adam, offered weak smiles and changed the subject, but their silence was complicity. The humiliation began with the family introductions. Lydia, her arm possessively linked through Richard's, paraded me before his wealthy, polished relatives. "And this is my sister, Hannah," she announced, her voice a saccharine dagger. Our little career woman. So focused on her job, she's let love just pass her by. Richard's aunt, Mrs. Wellington, peered at me over her champagne flute. "Oh dear. Have you tried the new dating apps?" My gardener found a lovely woman on one. The laughter was a polite, venomous hum. For an hour, I endured a procession of well-meaning monsters offering unsolicited advice. Lower my standards, embrace spinsterhood, consider freezing my eggs. The breaking point was the bouquet toss. I tried to vanish into the shadows, but Lydia's maid of honor, Marion, dragged me into the circle of giggling 20-somethings. Lydia caught my eye, smirked, and deliberately launched the flowers in the opposite direction. As a young cousin squealed with victory, Lydia's voice cut through the applause. "Looks like Hannah will have to wait a little longer." The laughter this time was less polite, more cruel. Heat flooded my cheeks. I stumbled back to my exile at table 12, my vision blurring with tears of rage and shame. I fumbled for my purse, ready to flee, to give her the final satisfaction of my retreat. That's when a voice, low and steady, spoke from behind me. "Act like you're with me." I turned. The man was arresting. Tall, with an athletic build encased in a suit that cost more than my car, he had dark, intense eyes that held mine with unnerving focus. "Excuse me," I whispered, my voice trembling. "Your sister," he said, sliding smoothly into the chair beside me. "She just spent 5 minutes telling my business partner she's afraid you'll die alone." I assumed that wasn't your idea of wedding banter. He was right. I could see Lydia across the room, holding court, undoubtedly narrating the tragicomedy of my life. "I'm William," he said, extending a hand. "Richard's cousin from Boston. And you're Hannah, the sister who's apparently one cat away from spinsterhood." A choked laugh escaped me. "That's the one." "Not anymore," he said, his gaze unwavering. "Let's give them a show they'll remember." The change was instantaneous. William draped his arm over the back of my chair, leaning in to whisper something that made me genuinely laugh for the first time all night. I felt the shift in the room's energy before I saw it. Heads turned. Whispers started. Lydia, mid-conversation with the wedding planner, froze. Her smile didn't just falter, it shattered. She was at our table in seconds. "Hannah," she chirped, her voice strained. "I had no idea you knew William." "We go way back," William answered smoothly, his fingers brushing mine. "Lost touch, but fate has a funny way of intervening, doesn't it?" Lydia's eyes were sharp, calculating. "How wonderful. How long have you been reconnecting?" "Long enough," William said, his tone a masterclass in implication. As she retreated, confusion and fury warring on her perfectly made-up face, William turned to me. The lemon face is a good look on her. For the next hour, he was flawless. He fetched me drinks, listened intently as I spoke about my work, and his touch was always perfectly timed, a hand on my lower back, his fingers briefly interlacing with mine. It felt real. When the band struck up a slow melody, he stood and offered his hand. "Dance with me." It wasn't a request. On the dance floor, with his hand firm on my waist, I felt the collective gaze of every pitying guest. But instead of shrinking, I felt a surge of power. "She's watching," William murmured, his breath warm against my ear. "She looks like she's tasting vinegar." "Mission accomplished," I breathed. He pulled back slightly, his eyes searching mine. "Almost." Lydia couldn't resist. She cut in, dragging a bewildered Richard behind her. "Mind if I steal my sister for a moment?" "Actually, I do," William said, his voice pleasant but firm. "We're in the middle of something." Lydia's mask slipped completely. We're also relieved Hannah has someone." We were so worried. "Were you?" William's voice lost its warmth. "Because from where I'm standing, you've spent the entire evening orchestrating her humiliation. It's quite the performance." Lydia gaped fish-like. Richard flushed and tried to steer her away, but the damage was done. The confrontation had been public, and William's words had laid her cruelty bare for all to see. The grand finale came with the garter toss. As Richard prepared to throw it, William stepped forward into the group of single men. "William!" Lydia cried out, a note of desperation in her voice. "You're not single." He gave her a slow, enigmatic smile. "Actually, I am. Hannah and I believe in taking things slow. Getting to know each other properly." The garter sailed through the air as if guided by destiny, landing squarely in William's outstretched hands. The crowd erupted. Tradition dictated he place it on the leg of the bouquet catcher, but she had left early. "Looks like we need a volunteer," the DJ boomed. William's eyes found mine, a question in them. "A dare." I nodded. As I sat in the chair and he knelt before me, sliding the blue lace up my calf with a deliberate slowness, the room fell silent. The moment was charged, intimate, and utterly defiant. The look on Lydia's face was pure, undiluted fury. Her perfect day had been hijacked, and the spotlight was firmly on her pathetic sister. Later, in the quiet of the parking lot, the illusion was supposed to end. "Thank you," I said, my voice soft. "You didn't have to do all that." The garter. That was above and beyond. William leaned against my car, the moonlight sharpening his features. "Who said I was acting?" My breath hitched. "What?" "The rescue was pretend," he said, stepping closer. "The connection wasn't. I saw a woman of immense grace being systematically broken down, and I saw a strength in you that she's clearly blind to. I'd like to see where this goes. For real." He handed me a simple business card. On the back, a single phone number was scrawled. "Call me," he said, "when you're ready." 1 year later. The setting was the same, the Grandview Manor, but the energy was entirely different. Our wedding was smaller, more intimate, filled with genuine joy. As I stood at the altar, in a dress far more elegant than Lydia's had been, I looked at William. The stranger who had been my knight in a charcoal suit was now my husband, his love as real and solid as the ring on my finger. Lydia, as my maid of honor, gave a speech filled with rewritten history, praising our whirlwind romance. I simply smiled. Her approval was irrelevant now.